Have you ever lost everything in a single day? Your job, your dignity, and the future you worked so hard to build? Imagine standing in front of your child, trying to smile while your whole world is falling apart. But sometimes, the greatest blessings hide behind the deepest heartbreaks. This is the unforgettable story of a single father who lost his career, took one impossible risk, and discovered that kindness has a way of changing lives when you least expect it. Stay with me until the very end because this story proves that the people who hurt us today may become the reason we discover our true purpose tomorrow. Before we begin, if you love heartwarming stories that remind us how powerful kindness can be, please subscribe to Be Kindleways, give this video a like, and leave a comment telling us where you're watching from. Your support helps us continue sharing stories that inspire hope and compassion. Now, let's begin. Michael Carter never imagined that one meeting would change his life forever. For 15 years, he worked for one of the biggest food companies in America. He wasn't the loudest employee or the most ambitious executive. He was simply honest, hardworking, and dependable. Every paycheck mattered because he was raising his 8-year-old daughter, Lily, alone after losing his wife to cancer 4 years earlier. Life wasn't easy, but Michael always believed that if he worked hard enough, everything would eventually get better. Then one rainy Tuesday morning, everything fell apart. He was called into the executive conference room without warning. Sitting across the table was the company's CEO, Daniel Harrison. The company was cutting costs, and Michael's department was being eliminated. "I'm sorry," Daniel said with little emotion. This decision wasn't personal. But for Michael, it was deeply personal. One signature on a document erased 15 years of loyalty. He packed his belongings into a small cardboard box and walked out of the building carrying nothing but memories and uncertainty. That evening, Lily noticed the sadness on her father's face. "Dad," she whispered, "are we going to be okay?" Michael forced a smile. "We always find a way." The truth was, he had no idea how. Weeks turned into months. Job interviews led nowhere. Savings disappeared faster than expected. Bills piled up on the kitchen table. One afternoon, while driving through his old neighborhood, Michael noticed an abandoned bakery. The windows were dusty. The paint was peeling. A faded sign hung crooked above the entrance. Most people saw a broken building. Michael saw possibility. Years earlier, his grandfather had owned a neighborhood bakery where Michael spent every summer learning how to knead dough and bake fresh bread before sunrise. Those memories had never left him. Using the last of his savings and a small loan from a local credit union, he bought the neglected bakery. Friends thought he was making the biggest mistake of his life. "You've never owned a business," one friend warned. "The place is falling apart," another said. But Michael wasn't buying a building. He was buying hope. The first few months were incredibly difficult. Every morning he woke up at 3 o'clock. He baked bread, cleaned the floors, painted the walls, fixed broken shelves, served customers, balanced the books, and somehow still made time to help Lily with homework every evening. Money remained tight. Some days only a handful of customers walked through the door. Still, Michael greeted every person with a genuine smile. He believed everyone deserved kindness, even when life wasn't kind to him. One freezing winter morning, an elderly woman entered the bakery carrying only a few coins. She quietly counted her money before looking at a loaf of fresh bread. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I'm a little short." Without hesitation, Michael handed her the bread along with 2 warm cinnamon rolls. She tried to refuse. He smiled. "Today they're on the house." Tears filled her eyes. "You don't know what this means." Michael simply replied, "Someday someone will do the same for me." Word slowly spread through the community. People didn't just come for the bread. They came because the bakery felt like home. Michael remembered everyone's name. He asked about their families. He donated leftover pastries to homeless shelters every evening instead of throwing them away. High school students found part-time jobs there. Lonely neighbors found conversations over fresh coffee. The little bakery became the heart of the neighborhood. Then one afternoon, everything changed again. A black luxury car stopped outside the bakery. Michael looked through the window. His heart nearly stopped. Stepping out of the car was Daniel Harrison, the CEO who had fired him. Daniel walked inside looking tired and distracted. For a long moment, neither man spoke. Finally Daniel smiled awkwardly. "I didn't expect to find you here." Michael nodded politely. "What can I get for you?" Daniel looked around the busy bakery filled with laughter and smiling customers. "This place is incredible." Michael thanked him and handed over a fresh cup of coffee. Daniel hesitated before speaking. "I actually came because I wanted to apologize." Michael remained silent. Daniel continued. "A few months after the layoffs, I stepped down as CEO. Looking back, I realized I had spent years chasing profits while forgetting about people. I heard about this bakery and wanted to see it for myself." Michael listened carefully. There was no anger in his heart anymore. Only peace. Daniel looked around once more. "You've built something special." Michael smiled gently. "I lost my career, but I found my purpose." Just then, the elderly woman Michael had once helped walked into the bakery. She carried a small bouquet of flowers. "My grandson graduated from college today," she said proudly. "He says your kindness inspired him to never give up." Daniel watched the exchange quietly. For the first time in years, he truly understood what success looked like. It wasn't found in corner offices or million-dollar contracts. It was found in small acts of compassion that changed ordinary lives. A few weeks later, Daniel returned. Not as a customer. As a volunteer. Every Saturday morning, he helped package bread for local shelters. He never asked for recognition. He simply wanted to give back. Michael welcomed him without resentment. Because forgiveness is one of the greatest forms of kindness. Over time, the two men became unlikely friends. Daniel even invested in expanding the bakery, but only after Michael insisted that every new location would continue donating food to families in need. Together, they proved that people can change. They proved that second chances are real. And most importantly, they showed an entire community that kindness creates ripples far beyond what we can see. Years later, Lily stood behind the bakery counter as a young woman. She smiled at every customer just as her father always had. Above the entrance hung a wooden sign that read, "People may forget what you sold them, but they'll never forget how you made them feel." Michael often looked at that sign with quiet gratitude. Losing his job had once felt like the end of his story. Instead, it became the beginning of the most meaningful chapter of his life. If this story teaches us anything, it's that kindness never goes to waste. Every smile, every helping hand, every moment of forgiveness has the power to transform someone's future, including our own. Life may knock us down, but choosing compassion gives us the strength to rise again. So wherever you are today, be the reason someone believes that goodness still exists. Because one simple act of kindness can change a life forever, and perhaps, it will change yours too.